Last year I helped Brock get himself leaner than he ever thought possible. We got him into photo shoot condition. He ended up dropping 15 kilos over 17 weeks, and I've just managed to dig up his meal plan that I had for him. And I thought it would be helpful for you because there's a few interesting strategies that made it quite easy for him. And hopefully you can take something away from this. You guys seem to like when I did Rory's full meal plan when he won his bodybuilding show, and this one will not disappoint also. Let's get into the video. So this was Brock's starting point with me, and this is where we finished at the end of the cutting phase. We took some cool photos and he looked amazing. So when we first met, Brock was 89 kilos by week 14. He was into the 75s. Of course, by the end of the full 17-week transformation, we had him lighter and leaner than this. This was just a screenshot that I managed to pull out from the spreadsheet that we used back in the day. So we started him off at 2,600 calories, and towards the end, he was at about 2,200. On low days, 5 days a week, with 2 refeed days at about 2,750 calories. This was his meal plan from week 9 in the program, interestingly enough. And of course now I have my app does all of this, right? Doing it as a PDF is quite an old school way of doing things, but it works. It's all calories and macros at the end of the day, whether you do it like this, whether you do MyFitnessPal, whether you have some swanky new app like I have now, it all works at the end of the day. So first off, I want you to notice his daily totals and daily setup. We've got 3 meals plus a snack. Brock he is really busy now, but he was very, very busy at the time, a traveling salesman. So for him, sitting down to eat 5 or 6 times per day was simply not going to work. We needed an easy breakfast, which we'll get to. We needed a meal prep, a bill lunch, as in a lunch that he could meal prep and take with him. And then we needed a dinner as well that would suit. And he had to get a workout in also. So he would work out before dinner. So he would finish work and he'd have his snack towards the end of his work shift, and then go to the gym after the snack and then have dinner as well. Let's look at his macros. I had him on 200 protein, pretty much 200 carbs, 60 fats at this time. Brock in week 9, if he weighed 89 in week 1, and then 75 in week 14, he would have been 77 or 78 at the week 9 mark, because you lose weight faster at the start when you do it right, and then you slow it down towards the end once you are really, really lean. So once he's at this point here, we do not want to be losing a kilo per week anymore, because then a good chunk of what we're losing is going to be muscle, right? So you can see how we took him from here, pretty good, pretty solid, pretty lean physique, and just a couple extra kilos to bring him into there, because those 2 extra kilos that we went from the 76 mark down to 74 where he eventually finished, it's all body fat. It's all body fat. So let's get into, that's what I wanted to talk to you about. Keep your fats low. Keep your fats down, right? Your minimum fats is 0.5 gram per kg of body weight. So if Brock is 77 in this, his minimum fats is, let's call it 40. Still had him way above his minimum at 60 grams, way above. But when we made an adjustment after this, the thing we would have dropped is the fats, because we want to keep the carbs up as high as we possibly can. That's how you get that really muscle full look. Plus, as we'll talk about when we go through the meal plan itself, carbs tend to be more filling, more satiating on a calorie per calorie basis than fats, because fats are 9 calories per gram and carbs are only 4 calories per gram. And when you look at the satiety index studies, all of the most satiating foods are protein and carbs. Right, it's all the protein sources, of course. You know that protein fills you up. I don't need to tell you that. But carbs fill you up more than fat. So the top is potatoes, then oats, and then even like a whole grain bread scored pretty high as well. And of course, fruit and veg. I don't need to tell you about his protein, right? You know you need to be eating a high protein diet. So here's his breakfast. We did a Musashi protein bar, any fruit, and then a coffee. Now, you've got to be clever with your coffee. This isn't a Starbucks dessert. This is a coffee, right? It doesn't have to be black. You can have a little bit of almond milk or skim milk or something like that, but have a sugar-free sweetener. Keep the calories down, and you're not having some Starbucks dessert type of thing with whipped cream everywhere, right? It's a coffee. It's not a dessert. The protein bar plus the fruit combo is really good. This is, in a way, a style of protein sparing modified fasting. So what that means is when you do protein sparing modified fasting, instead of intermittent fasting and skipping breakfast, you just have protein in the morning. That way you still get a serving of protein to repair your muscles, which they need the protein, right? But you don't use up too many of your calories. So you've got lots of carbs and fats saved on for later in the day. We did something very, very similar with Brock, right? The only difference is he had a bit of fruit there as well, just to get things moving essentially, right? And make sure that there's something in his stomach, because he's not going to eat again until lunch. But being a traveling salesman, he's out, he's meeting clients, he's interacting with people, he's doing emails, he's busy in the morning. He needs something quick, he needs something that's going to be just easy for him. And this was exactly what we did. Then he has a lunch. We've got chicken breast, veggies, leafy greens, avocado, and rice or a wrap. Now, you are allowed to season your chicken, you know that, right? Because you're reading this and you're thinking, oh, chicken and rice, like I'm so over chicken and rice. Look at this. If this does not look delicious to you, I don't know what to tell you. Then you need to, maybe you're vegan, but if you're not, then you need to get your taste buds back in alignment with what real food actually tastes like. This is beautiful chicken, and it does not require like a fatty sauce. It doesn't require heaps of oil. It's just some good seasoning. That's all it requires. And then, of course, look, where it says chicken breast, you can swap it for like a lean red meat, like a sirloin steak or mince or prawns or anything like that. That's what you're going to find at the end of the day. This is just macros. It's macros, right? There's nothing magic about chicken breast. You could have prawns on rice. You could have lean beef on rice. As long as the macros all add up, that's what we're after mostly at the end of the day. So that was Brock's lunch. He could meal prep that, take that with him, heat it up wherever he was, and move on from there. Then we would do a snack, which was more fruit, a fiber 1 bar. And this is because he had just a little bit of a sweet tooth. And I really tried to almost get him to go cold turkey on it a little bit, because that's the best way to get rid of the sweet tooth, by the way. But if you find yourself, you're trying to go cold turkey and then you end up binging, then it's not for you going cold turkey. But if you can go cold turkey for long enough, eventually the cravings for sweet things are gone, because cravings are psychological, not physical, and they're like a memory. So think about some deep, dark memory that you haven't thought about in a long, long time. That's like cravings, right? They only come when you're actively thinking about them. But anyway, we had this little treat for Brock, a fiber 1 bar, and then the Powerade Zero was because this was before his workout. So it's great to get some electrolytes in before your workout. Feel great, feel hydrated, feel full from a nice big lunch, and then from a little bit of a sweet treat and some carbs as well. Dinner was very, very similar to lunch, except it spelled out a few more of the options. And if he ever needed to take a client out, he knew that he had a budget, a calorie budget of 700 calories, and he needed to hit his 50 grams of protein. So therefore, if he needed to, he could go out and get a steak, for example, steak on salad with a Coke Zero. That'd keep you under 700 calories and easily hit 50 grams of protein, or a nice chicken salad, something like that, and tell them to leave the oils and the butters on the side, because that's where a lot of the calories really add up from. You can even get a chicken and rice type of meal for under 700 calories with 50 grams of protein if the fats are kept low enough. This was something that he would meal prep, so we've got here like a lean red meat and then some veggies, and there's some potatoes under there too. So when you look at this, the transformation Brock went through, 2200 calories, 3 meals and a snack looking like this, seems pretty simple at the end of the day, doesn't it? And it's because it is simple. It is simple, not easy, because the hard part is the consistency at the end of the day. Now with Brock as well, he was lucky enough that this was his meal plan 5 days per week, and then 2 days per week. If you remember, all the way back to here, we actually did refeeds 2 days a week at 2,750 calories. So all in all, relatively smooth transformation, and that was the meal plan that we used to achieve that. So with that being said, if you'd like more information about my coaching program and whether I can help you, head to the first link in the description or drop a comment or send me a message on Instagram. Thanks for watching. I'll see you tomorrow.